and it took a completely different tone than the beginning of the like the first three episodes would have said to me.
Hmm.
I mean, there was like at the end of the third episode, there was a huge battle. Don't get me wrong, but it seemed like it was very much it should have been there. It was contained. It should have been there. Things were proceeding the way it should have. Maybe a little accelerated or whatever, but still not too bad. Then afterwards, it's just like mass amounts of just people dying, blood, gore, random sex scenes, and magic. And I'm just like, really? Did we walk into Game of Thrones anime here? What happened?
The next show we're going to be talking about is Grancrest.
This one's weird. This one's weird in a lot of ways. Within the first couple of episodes, because we did our initial thoughts,
Yeah.
I had an idea of what this anime was going to be about and how this was going to proceed and everything. Halfway through it, since I picked it back up again, because I let it go for a while, and then I picked it back up and finished it up, it took a completely different turn.
Okay.
I almost want to say that this is something very similar in a lot of respects to Game of Thrones if you took the dragons out of it. Take the dragons out of it, and of course then the dragon mother, whatever, take that out of it, and that's what you get with this almost.
Okay.
And obviously they put their own little twists on it and everything because they have lords with crests and someone's trying to get all the crests together so they can get rid of all the chaos in their mind. But it's the way things are proceeding. I'm like, oh my god, I'm almost mirroring characters in Game of Thrones with Grancrest. There's a lot of characters. I'm like, well, that's that one because there's like a queen that from another continent who came over and she's just being absolutely ruthless. She's disobeying a whole bunch of like code and stuff like that, and she's taking every possible thing that she can do in order to win this battle, to win the war. And it's becoming just insane. And I remember a character in Game of Thrones who was like this queen and mother, and she lost her children, and she kind of just went war crazy and insane, and she's very ruthless. And I'm like, wow, those two like mirror each other in so many ways. It's crazy. And then even the main guy character kind of reminds me of Jon Snow in some ways because the way he's very, chivalrous and trying to go by the code and everything, but at the same time, he does what he needs to do, and it's just, yeah, it's just really great. Like, and this whole war situation just reminds me of how the battle in Game of Thrones was coming together with the two main sides trying to battle it, within the third side coming in, and it just, anyways, yeah. I mean, it's going all over the place. The only thing I can say is like at the very beginning, there wasn't a whole lot of it, but towards the middle and the end, I don't know why, but they feel like they need to put forth like sex scenes. That's why, and also I'm like, wow, this is like Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones is like, you know what? Throw a sex scene in there. Why not? Let's do it. Just out of nowhere. Let's have it. And I'm like, all right, that happened. But it's just, again, I'm just like, and then one of them was like almost like a rapey kind of scene almost, which I'm just like, all right, skip over this. Okay, are we back? Are we done? Okay, now we're done. All right, let's go ahead and do this now. So it's just, again, so much of it, I'm just like, this is like an anime twist on Game of Thrones. Seriously, freaking weird. I know they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna have walkers like they do in Game of Thrones, but still, it's just weird.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a completely different tone than the beginning of the like the first three episodes would have said to me. I mean, there was like at the end of the third episode, there was a huge battle. Don't get me wrong, but it seemed like it was very much. It should have been there. It was contained. It should have been there. Things were proceeding the way it should have. Maybe a little accelerated or whatever, but still not too bad. Then afterwards, it's just like mass amounts of just people dying, blood, gore, random sex scenes, and magic. And I'm just like, really? Did we walk into Game of Thrones anime here? What happened?
So this is the one that had the wedding at the beginning that got messed up.
Yeah.
Did they go back to that person who messed it up?
The demon that
Yeah,
came through. Yeah,
yeah.
no, that's not come back. They're in their mind, well, at least the queen, the female that was there for that wedding that got interrupted. She's kind of a queen now, essentially. Anyways, she's under the impression that as long as she gets all the crests from all the other lords around and unites them into one, all the chaos will go away. And she's willing to take those crests by force if necessary.
Hmm. So as far as chaos, is that like some kind of curse, or is it like,
It's just like a miasma that's around the land.
and if
Uh,
it gets high enough, then that demon will come back?
well, it's like in certain parts it's just a miasma where it's like almost poison to humans, and in
Uh-huh.
other parts it's just like demons will show up. Not like the biggest bad that came to that wedding,
Uh-huh.
but just random small mini time demons, though normal humans can't really do much about.
Yeah.
Normal like farmers and stuff like that, they really can't do much with it.
So when you
So
say miasma, that reminds me of Inuyasha.
kind of, I think
So
I know where you're going with that, and it's kind of very similar in a lot of sense.
okay. Um.
Because it was bad because like there is a rule among lords that you're not supposed to use chaos or the miasma in battle. You're just supposed to not that's you're not allowed. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, at one point they were trying to take out this castle that was well defended. So the queen, well, her mage had the idea of let's go to the swamp that's nearby, stir up the miasma, and then shift the wind so it blows into that castle, and there's nothing they can do about it. And every one of the soldiers was like, no, you can't do that. That's against all sorts of codes. It's wrong in every sense
Yeah.
of the word. And she's like, let's do it. So they did,
Huh.
and literally it was like this fog that rolled in and came over them, and everyone, if they did not die, became incapacitated. So when it
Uh-huh.
cleared up, they were still mostly incapacitated. So the army just swept in, and literally people just lying there they would spear and kill like mercilessly. And I'm just like, wow, that's hardcore.
So like my question is, so as far as like the way the story's flowing, is it continuing? Is it buttoned up or
It's continuing, and I think
okay?
it doesn't end this season. I don't think it's actually continuing into next season, I want to say.
Okay. So my question that I would like to be answered for it is,
Oh wait, no,
um,
there's 13 episodes supposedly, and I know I'm in episode 12, I think. So there's only one episode more in this, but I don't they can't button everything up right now. No way.
okay. So if they do come, like I guess if they come back, my question that I would hope that would be answered is, whose decision was it to make the wedding? Did they like have like a big meeting with all the different
So
groups,
what
and
ended
they're
up
like,
happening was it was both political and a love interest thing.
uh,
Because they do explain that the two that are now on opposing sides of each other actually fell in love with each other.
uh,
There was a love there.
uh,
There was a meeting, things happened, and then it was later on that it was decided that the two should join so that way two different factions could unite into one
mm,
and hopefully bring about peace to the whole world and maybe get rid of the chaos.
uh,
But because of the demons strike and everything, it just deteriorated from there.
okay. And then how many factions are there? Are there just two factions or?
There are two main factions.
Hmm.
There is a third party who is they're kind of like they're very much how to say, they're like, if I were to say in our world, they would come from like places near East India, kind of. They had like the Arabic looking garb on, and
Mm,
they had more scimitar looking blades than just regular swords.
uh-huh.
But they're very ruthless, and like they're quick to kill, which reminds me of another thing for Game of Thrones because there was a faction that was like that in there. Um, so I'm like, God damn, really? How did you just change so suddenly in that? Um, and then the main character is actually kind of creating a fourth faction.
Okay.
So
Okay. I guess that answers all my questions.
yeah, it's It's so awkward. I want to say it's good. I'm not sure I would recommend it, but it's good. I kind of want people to watch it and kind of give their opinions of it too, because it's so different in a lot of ways. But then again, it's also so very familiar, Game of Thrones. Um, but it's just kind of like one of those. I would recommend Death March before I would recommend Grancrest, but I still don't think Grancrest is bad.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of how I look at it. Hard to say.
Okay.
Like Death March would get like a 90 out of 100 for me. Grancrest would get like an 80 out of 100.
Okay.
So,
Hmm. What if what if in the next core they had White Walkers?
I'd be like, really? Or like a variation of that they didn't call that, but then everyone
Yeah.
was like, oh God, we need to go and kill these things because they're going to kill all of us. I'd be like, wow, seriously, you guys were watching Game of Thrones when you made this anime, weren't you? Like,
And
no
it's
joke.
like, and it's like all you need is dragons now, then
Yeah,
just
yeah.
playing.
Oh, look, next episode. Here comes the dragons. Ah.
Okay. Um. Yeah. Yeah. If out of the two, Death March and this one, I would definitely lean more towards Death March. I haven't seen Game of Thrones either. All I know is like the certain terms from it, so I have a vague idea of what you're talking like how you're referring to them back and forth. I have a vague idea.
I haven't even watched all of it. It's just some of them I'm just like, come on, really?
Hmm. Okay.
Like there was monsters attacking the city.
Mhm.
Now, he could probably dispatch all the monsters by himself. Completely. Probably could. Definitely if you didn't care about this was so weird in a lot of ways, but cool as well. And is it just
Yeah.
me or did you kind of start hating the father towards the end there? Not
The
the grandfather, but the father.